Welcome to this 20th expansion announcement. We have some special guests on tonight. A little later, we're going to have two game designers, CCP Fossey and CCP Rise, come on and tell us about some of the features we are putting into this expansion. But first, we have a very important guest that needs no introduction, but we'll get one nonetheless. Welcome, CCP Seagull, Senior Producer of EVE Online.
Thank you.
So, how have you been?
Very good, very good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So, at FanFest, those who came to FanFest, those who watched the stream, those who read about it, they heard you talking about a vision, a future vision for EVE Online that entails some more control for capsuleers, some wild adventures in the future. Can you tell us maybe a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we did a ton of prep work before FanFest and put a lot of work into coming up with what's a longer-term vision for EVE Online. And it's really about a core theme that has to do with space colonization. And this is one of these old dreams of mankind that I think is so well expressed in a virtual world like EVE that has this really like sci-fi core theme to it as well.
Space colonization is there's a lot that you can imagine being involved in that. So we're thinking a little bit ahead when we think about this, aren't we?
Yeah, we're thinking about a lot of things that we can do to give capsuleers pretty much an unprecedented level of control over this universe we have. Because the way we look at EVE is that it's not just a computer game, it's also what I call, it's like a living work of science fiction. It's a world that then is like a canvas or plays host to many things actually. Both, you know, one of the most hardcore PvP game experiences that you can find in the industry, but of course also all kinds of epic player-driven stories, all the way down to the individual person setting their own goals and achieving their own things, trying to master what the universe has to throw at them.
Yeah, there's a lot you start to think about when you see these pictures being displayed on the screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is really, and we made these pictures for FanFest to illustrate the types of things that we are imagining now for EVE. And it's really about building things, about destroying things, about taking power over the universe. And there's this power and industrial might in the story of New Eden, of the EVE universe. This really came to be again after the EVE Gate collapse and so on. These human empires rose to the stars again and they built up this fantastic power. And the capsuleers are both part of that and they're also something very different. And they are becoming a force of their own. And they are not interested anymore in settling with the origins that they came from. They want to master the universe even more, master the technologies of the universe, and eventually try to get their hands on the very technologies of space travel. And that, you know, poses just this massive question of what would happen if capsuleers were not bound to the known universe. And so that's really the journey we want to take players on now, starting over multiple, like, you know, starting now, but over multiple expansions. We're going someplace together, and I don't think neither players or capsuleers will be able to predict where this is going, but I'm excited to go on this trip with our player community.
It's quite an enticing vision, and capsuleers gaining more control over things and doing new things that they haven't been able to do thus far is something that I know our players will be pretty excited about. There's a guy, I know this guy. There's Empire guy who looked very worried in the video. He looked so worried. So yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, he's going to be worried about these new opportunities that capsuleers are going to be taking on. I kind of sometimes feel for this guy. You know, I've been in his situation quite a few
he
times.
should be pretty worried.
Yeah.
Because we are, with this journey, we're starting to question some of the rules that have governed the EVE universe for a long time. Some of the rules that are a result of the empires and how they've risen, that kind of define the world right now. And we have, of course, a game that's already out there. EVE Online is there, and we continue to work on improving it and balancing the systems that are there and so on. But this vision gives us a way to start really questioning some of the fundamentals, because we have a long-term plan for how we're going to do it step by step.
Yeah.
And so these pictures don't represent what you will get right away, but they represent where we're going and some idea of what that might look like.
And people are going to get a taste of how this journey starts a little later in the show.
Yes.
So the possibilities for this living sci-fi universe are they endless?
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here, and why I'm here, and that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
I think it's such a unique thing that we have here, and that we are really taking care of this living world with our player community, and that's a fantastic thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it's a brilliant place to be in. So, should we maybe share with our players what they've all been waiting for? The name of the expansion?
Yep. So this expansion is the start of this journey, and it's well in development, and we'll actually be shipping it to you a bit earlier than usual. So on the 19th of November, we will be giving you EVE Online Rubicon.
Bravo! That's gonna be quite an exciting date. November 19th, a date to reserve, and we're giving them the expansion a little earlier than usual. So we'll have time to prepare for some really kick-ass events for Christmas, and then line up like a really good follow-up expansion. And it's they're getting all this like early in the usual. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, and all the teams, they're just full on right now working on this. Features already well underway.
Yeah, and we really want to hand it over to Fozzie and Rice to give you a whole bunch of details and information about some of the features that are going into it.
I see them on the sidelines there. They're getting quite anxious to talk about spaceships. So yeah,
let's do it.
It's been great having you on, and yeah, I'll see you around the office. Yep, this is gonna be something. Rubicon, the beginning of a journey that will take us to places unexplored, and the point of no return, as some would say. The start of the point of no return. Capsuleers gaining more power in the universe of New Eden. So we have new guests on set.
Hello.
Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hey, familiar faces. Yeah. So, CCP Rice, CCP Fozzie, you are working on making these things happen right now?
Yes, indeed. Hard at work. All of the teams are right in the thick of it right now, getting features done. We've got some stuff already well on its way to being completed, and other stuff to come after that. This is going to be a really great expansion.
Yeah. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it that I'm excited to talk about. And so, where do you want to start?
Well, you know, Siegel was just mentioning some players who might be a little nervous about rules changing in some of the systems they're used to, and maybe we could start with one of those systems.
Yeah, something where we're taking a bit of power away from the game NPCs, giving it to the players. Maybe some customs offices.
Oh, customs offices. What's happening to them? Let's go through that a little bit.
All right, so customs offices right now are the structures that you use when you're doing planetary interaction, when you're making resources and factories on the planets. to bring your resources out, to put them in. Basically, they're the kind of space elevator that you use to transfer stuff back and forth. And in low security space and null security space right now, players can take them over and control them and control their own taxation and control whether their friends or their enemies get different rates at it, and it gives them a lot of actual power over these planets. But at the moment in high security space, it's all NPC controlled. There's no way for players to actually have an influence over it. But we're going to be changing that.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And like, so what do you see coming out of this? Players taking over these customs offices. What are they going to do with them? What's going to happen?
So players will be able to destroy the existing customs offices, just as the way that they were able to do with low-sec and wormhole space and null-sec, and then replace them with their own. And then once they have them up there, they'll be able to set whatever taxation rate they want. They'll be able to set it to different levels for their friends, for their enemies, for neutrals. And it'll allow them to basically set up, it's a way they can take some control over space, their own little area that they have power over, separate from things like the sovereignty system. You can do things like take over a planetary customs office and then set it at a really low tax rate, advertise, get people to come in, defend it so that it's a very stable way for people to get resources in and out. And we think a lot of players are going to take advantage of this.
Yeah, it can be super lucrative. So, you know, we'll see a range of behaviors, but of course, large groups will fight over extremely valuable sets of systems or of, you know, particular customs offices. But at the same time, there's a lot of systems, and the value of the, you know, individual planets varies depending on their location. So we'll see smaller groups of players, you know, doing different versions of their own kind of planetary enterprises.
I know there's been players that have just been had watering at the mouth for this for quite a long time, that they know exactly how valuable some of these are going to be. And we're going to see some pretty big wars, I think, fought over them.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to cause some explosions and manufacturing of new spaceships, perhaps.
It's one of our favorite mechanics in that it's something that provides you with a way to grab something that gives you money over time, but you're doing it through other people, it's not just creating money out of thin air.
Exactly.
You actually have an incentive to encourage people to use your services. You're providing a service instead of just having to be a money printer.
Exactly, I love that. That's really, really nice.
And it might be worth mentioning, you know, you're talking about the nervous, I don't remember what you called him. You're nervous.
The dude like on the trailer, the like admiral or whatever.
The worried Empire bureaucrat, as I like to call him.
So if you are worried about some, you know, big, terrible alliance ruining your planetary interaction setups you have now, you can always avoid using the customs offices. I mean, most people should know that, but you can launch stuff into space, and so it doesn't necessarily prohibit use, it just changes the dynamic a little bit.
I expect most people use that, like if there's a war being fought over it at that time, they use it as a short-term measure, and then there's going to be no incentive to, like people can move their resources away if you don't set a good tax rate, right? So if somebody goes in and sets prohibitive taxes, then they'll just be punished by no one using it.
All right. Sounds pretty cool. So we're also giving people some things to put in space.
Yeah.
Things that they own.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this feature. We're introducing a new set of personal deployable structures, so structures that are owned by players that they can put in space. This is something that it will be entirely separate from our existing Starbase code, so it's not going to have those legacy issues. And it's a system that we're definitely planning on building up over time. This is the first steps towards a system that we think is going to be very, very important to EVE in the future. And we're really, really looking forward to seeing what people do with them. There's a lot of really cool sandbox opportunities for these. We're introducing 4 new types of structures in this expansion in Rubicon, and there'll be some subtypes for some of them, but there'll be 4 different classes of them.
All right, so 4 different ones, and obviously they will serve different functions.
Hey, do we get to talk about their functions?
We do indeed.
Let's talk about their functions.
So here's one of them right here. So this is the Syphon Unit. The names, I should let everyone know, are not final.
Yes.
This is something, we are showing you stuff really early on in the process.
That goes for the whole, we need
that goes for the whole thing. We are giving people an early preview, so names may change, and some graphic details may change. Even some functions may change a little bit, but this is what we're working on
We're definitely looking for feedback on a lot of this stuff, and it is you're basically getting a glimpse inside our development process right now.
So there will be feedback threads, there will be dev blogs, and there will be changes based on that feedback. So this is what we're working on right now.
Disclaimer out of the way. Let's look at this awesome thing, which looks amazing. So this thing is one of the next steps that we're allowing people to disrupt and influence kind of established entities. It is a unit that allows people to steal resources from star bases. So you can essentially siphon some of the resources from moon mining or from reactions. It'll be a structure you can anchor outside of the starbase. It'll get in there, it'll start stealing some stuff over time. You'll actually, anyone who walks up to it can take from it. So if the owner of the starbase is there and active and he's coming and showing up, he can just go back out, grab the stuff, and then destroy the thing. But if he's not there, if the person running the starbase never shows up, is only there defending it when it gets attacked, and you are very careful not to let him know what's going on, then you can actually get a lot of money out of this.
All right, so they're going to be like the guy who siphons the gas off your car, and if you live in a bad neighborhood, you better take a look at your window once in a while. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think this is something that we definitely want to be introducing lots of new mechanics that allow people to mess with each other, especially in 0-0 and low sec. That allow people to kind of get past any stagnation and just kind of poke each other in the eye. So this is a way you can do it where you don't have to shoot some structures. You can just run up, drop this thing, and then come back later and see what you've got.
All right, that's pretty interesting, and I'm sure it's gonna, it's gonna cause some good fights. All right, so the next structure, do we have anything on that?
So this guy, we've got the name Depot there. It's basically a mobile home base. It's a little personal home base that you can put out in space. The idea behind it is it allows you to have your own little spot where you can store some stuff, where you can have a fitting service. And it's going to be very inexpensive. Players can drop it quite easily without requiring a lot of skill points. It's really the most entry level of these structures that we're introducing for this expansion. And there will be a whole bunch of different uses for it. People can bring it out when you're going PvP, and you can go out and keep putting your cargo, drop it when you need to like change from a micro warp drive to an afterburner, or switch your hardwares or something like that. If you see the need to do something like that, switch a cloak off maybe once you've gotten past a choke point in 0-0.
Can I kill it?
Yes, you can definitely kill it. All of these things, by the way, will be very destroyable.
Okay, will they be hard to kill, or?
This one will be a little bit harder than the others. So one of the cool things about all of these is in high sec, we're not going to get Concord involved with them at all. If you shoot these things, you would, at the worst, get a suspect timer. There's not going to be any concording if you shoot these things. We're allowing players to basically self-police to make sure they clean up space. They'll also go away on their own if they sit in space and unmanaged for a long period of time. But mainly, we expect players are going to shoot them if they get left unattended. But this will have a reinforcement mechanic that will actually make it very easy for players who are active defending it to scoop it and move it somewhere else. For instance, if someone attacks it, they can just get it out of the way and go off somewhere else instead of having to fight. Or they can choose to actually engage that confrontation.
Okay, that sounds pretty brilliant.
It'll have storage space for you. It'll also have, like I said, the fitting service. People can use it as at a safe spot, as their own little spot in space. You can drop it inside a fixed complex or something to make it your own little pirate asteroid base. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
I can just imagine like all the people at home now looking at this and thinking about all the myriad of ways that this can change certain situations in the game. It's quite a thing to throw in there.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, it's sort of the most core of all of these structures. It's the one that is creating that feeling that this is my little home. There's many like it, but this one is mine. This is my spot.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what people do with these. And So we have two more that we want to talk about.
Sorry, I'm kind of monopolizing. This is my team that's working on them, so that's why. Yeah, you're going to be talking more stuff later.
I don't like talking anyway.
So one of the other structures we're adding is a deployable automatic tractor beam and looting device.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be something we expect, especially people who are running missions will be interested in. You can also use it in a bunch of different other situations. But the idea is you drop this thing, it'll have tractor beams that'll be pulling in loot. It won't salvage for you, but it'll actually pull all the wrecks together so you can salvage more easily. And then loot them all into one central hold, and then you can just scoop it and scoop the loot, and it makes your looting day a whole lot easier.
All right,
I kill enough players that I think I'll need one of those for solo roaming, actually.
Yeah, just go like killing people and then dropping these and then come back later. Yeah.
So good for the organized PvE-er.
Yes, there'll be a lot of really exciting uses there. It'll make people's lives a lot easier if they decide to go that way instead of going with a dedicated alt, or you can use it alongside a dedicated alt.
And I can show up in someone else's side and drop it and just grab all their loot.
It won't grab the loot. It won't grab wrecks that you don't know.
Okay.
But you can go up and
it's a very courteous unit.
Like it'll bring it all together for them, and then you can ninja salvage.
Okay.
So you can do that. And then the final structure we're adding is one that I think especially our null sec and low sec people are going to be excited about.
Okay.
And it is a deployable temporary short-range Cyno jammer. It's going to be disposable, so it's a one-time use structure. You drop this thing, it'll have a range of maybe about 100 kilometers, 70 kilometers. We're still working on the exact details of that, but around that range. And inside of that area, no new Cynos will be able to be lit. So it won't completely protect you, because someone can still drop a Cyno off outside of its range and warp in, or drop some snipers outside or something. But it's going to allow you to have a lot more control over the tactics of your environment than you did in the past.
Exactly. So you can like kind of like cordon off a little bit of space for a little bit of time, and you know, control the battlefield a little better.
Yes, you'll be able to, it'll give you some warning. If you decide that you're afraid that you're going to get hot dropped, at least the people hot dropping, you'll have to put in some more effort. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with that in combination with other tactics. You'll be able to do things like, if you want to, you can drop your own fleet and then anchor one of these and let it, once it spools up, you'll have some protection there. But it also means you can't bring in your own reinforcements.
Okay. So are we ever going to see a Cyno jammer?
Maybe someday.
Well, you heard it here first then, at least.
Yeah, one thing that it won't stop, though, is covert Cynos. So in their own way, those are your own Cyno jammer. They cut through everything.
Okay, pretty cool. So yeah, we didn't have the pictures for these last two ones because
they are still early on.
We will have graphics for them, though.
Yes, when they get in the game, they'll look like something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they won't
really
just be invisible. Because
I've seen all the concepts and like the initial models are really awesome.
I've seen the concept for the Cyno jammer, and it's really beautiful.
I saw the effect for the Cyno jammer today for the first time.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks really cool. Yeah. We'll let people see that for themselves.
It looks like this.
Yeah, like yeah.
You guys, I'm sure, understand exactly what. Like, you're seeing it right now.
So we are continuing to throw some wrenches into tactics and the way people play with spaceships.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So something about warp acceleration changes.
Yeah, some of you guys notice this if you're looking at the chaos dumps, but a lot of you may be very confused about what's happening. So what we're doing is we're finally fixing the old problems with Eve's warp acceleration. This is something that PvPers have been asking for years. It is one of these things that the CSM has really asked us for, and we knew we wanted to do for a long time, and we finally got the opportunity to do it, and we're jumping in. We're really excited about what this is going to do. So right now, every ship has a max warp speed attribute. In practice, though, that doesn't matter very much, because the amount of time it takes to accelerate when you're in warp to your max warp speed is fixed for every ship. It's all the same. And most warps, you spend most of your time in the acceleration and deceleration, so it actually just doesn't matter. What we're doing now is making it so that the warp speed attribute for the ship is actually affecting your acceleration and deceleration rate. So it'll work the way you would expect it to work. A faster car will generally accelerate faster. So this is something where it'll really just act the way you'd expect. Small ships will be able to warp much, much more quickly. Larger ships are going to be a little bit slower warping, although there'll be some exceptions, like freighters were actually giving a higher top speed than they had in the past, but their acceleration will be slower, so it'll kind of balance out at certain levels. The actual point we're setting as the point that stays the same is Tech 1 cruisers. So if you're flying a Tech 1 cruiser, you'll notice no change in warping before and after the patch. Anything smaller than that's going to go faster. Anything larger than that's going to go a bit slower. More so with the faster ships, they're speeding up more than the others slowing down. Or if you want to go roaming with a small gang of frigates, of Tech 2 cruisers, which are a little bit faster than Tech 1, but not much, you're going to be getting through your area that you're roaming through a lot faster. A lot less traveling, a lot more fighting, and just less time to get to the good stuff. And
so you're actually going to be able to, if I understand this correctly, catch larger ships better if they try to warp away from you to a planet.
Yeah, if you've got a hack fleet, or even just Tech 1 cruisers or frigates or anything like that, and you're chasing a battleship fleet, you'll not only catch them much faster, but you could send like a wing of frigates around to go on a longer set of jumps and cut them off, or your interdictors to cut them off. If you see where a battleship is warping off to, you see which planet he's going to, and you're doing an interceptor, you've got a few seconds to figure out which planet exactly he went to, warp there, you'll arrive first, and be ready for him when he lands.
I've saved so many battleships by warping to a random planet and then bouncing to a safe spot or something like that.
You still won't know what range they're going to, but if you guess right, interceptors will actually be able to intercept, which is going to be awesome.
That's really cool. And there's some stuff we're going to talk about in regards to that, actually. Some changes being done to interceptors that will make them a whole lot more interesting in space.
Yes, indeed. So we're also doing a whole bunch of ship balancing changes. This is something that I'm sure you all expect of us by now. We've been working on for many expansions, continuous iteration of ships.
Yeah, the CSM was actually disappointed we were only balancing 24 ships or whatever it is.
So we've got a couple classes that we're ready to announce now that we're balancing. There'll be some more balanced stuff that we're not ready to talk about yet, but what we are ready to talk about is one thing you guys already know about, which is Marauders. We're also going to be doing Interceptors. electronic attack frigates, and light interdictors than normal interdictors.
So we could kind of go through little pieces of that. Maybe we should start on interceptors because
Sure,
we sort of ended on interceptors.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about there.
People are curious.
So the interceptor feedback, we're still chatting with the CSM a little bit about it. We'll be getting a thread up for the players to review very soon. The design is at a pretty good stage now. The really exciting part of it is, besides being able to warp super fast and actually take advantage of that, is we are planning at this point to give interceptors bubble immunity. So they'll be able to warp through interdiction bubbles, anchored, Hicks, interdiction, light interdictor drop bubbles, and get right through them and get to their target. So it's a ship class that is built about mobility. That's what its advantage is like. It's interceptor. It's supposed to be an intercept. It's supposed to be able to scout for you. It's supposed to be able to catch things, and it does that better in 0-0 if it can actually get to its target. So it's going to be something. We're not going to be giving them a lot of combat buffs. We're not going to be giving them any more HP. They're actually dropping their average HP just ever so slightly.
And we're going to have to make them work a little bit to get a Sino on.
We're giving them some pretty small cargo bays. But the end result, I think, is going to be a very, very exciting ship class. Both in combinations with the fleet, you'll be able to have your interceptors do really cool stuff in fleets, but also
them for scouting and for tackling and for running people down is going to be completely different territory than it used to be. But on top of that, running small gangs of them through 0-0.
Solo, that's
going on a hunting pack to 0-0 must be
wolf pack will mean a completely new thing now because you can just burn through big groups of players, which should be really fun.
Less guaranteed safety for people who plant a lot of bubbles and want to rat in peace. So that's pretty cool. And you guys let us know what you think. We have forums.
Of course.
You'll probably give us your feedback.
We'll be putting threads up and discussing all of this.
I expect the interceptor thread will be no more than a couple of days, probably early next week. But then we'll start to get feedback there. And as always, we'll be looking at that and making changes as we go. But we're getting ready to show you guys all the details of that. And that's pretty exciting to be able to announce that first bit.
Awesome stuff.
So speaking of threads, we could talk about Marauders a little bit. I know, not all of you will know, but the Features and Ideas is always very active, and we had a lot of discussion going on around Marauders. The basic gist, I don't know, are we showing the picture of it now? Or look at that. Look at that.
Hey.
So the important thing to know is that they'll transform now, which is pretty amazing.
This is really cool. I've been waiting for this because I know our graphics artists have been working on making this possible for a while now. Whenever they make changes to ships, so it's been possible for a little while, but finally we're seeing
it's hard to really grasp how cool the lighting effect there is. But it looks like you've got neons in a car hood as it pops up, and I really expect the thing to be on hydraulics and it's going to bounce off.
It's just, it looks amazing, and this is going to be possible for more ships as we develop. So,
and really for all of these, and they're all very unique and kind of fit. They're not all done yet, of course, but the animations for each of them, for the Vargar, the Paladin, and the Golem as well, are really cool, and they're all different from each other. And they don't all pop a hood, but they all do something interesting. So, but as far as the mechanics, if you haven't been paying attention to the discussion, the basic idea is that they're getting two modes. They're getting what we're calling for now a Bastion mode, which is probably what will stick. And unlike other modes like Siege or Triage, it's an extremely fast cycling mode. And in that mode, they get E-War immunity, they can't move, and they tank a ton. The specifics, some of the other specifics are still a little in flux, part of the iteration going on and the discussion going on. But those things are definitely going to happen. And then in the normal mode, well, all the time, but they can't use it while they're in the Bastion mode, they get reduced micro jump drive activation timer. So they can MGD every minute instead of every 3, which means they're either locked down, being these really crazy brawling ships, likely projecting damage over long ranges and being immune to E-War, or they're able to MJD every minute all over the field, which just gives all kinds of options. And even though there's been some disagreement about exactly how to tune that, I think everybody's really excited about using it, whether it's for PvP or PvE or whatever. We're pretty excited about those. I think they'll be really fun.
I think so. And I'm definitely gonna get one of each and try not to lose
it and
right away.
I expect you'll see a lot of people just undocking.
I know it's crazy because you can't do it in the station, so you can't just spin it. You have to undock and.
So yet another reason for people to undock. And
make sure to turn on your hardeners, or it'll be a suicide Yankee heyday. It'll be amazing. Tornadoes just running around.
Those are really cool. And another tactical change that's gonna, cause people to things
Yeah,
forward.
they're going to be really interesting. But yeah, if you're interested in them, definitely go check out the thread. I mean, we talked about them some already, and we sort of took a step back from the thread for a little while to think about exactly where we were going, but we'll have updates for you before too long.
Just because we haven't posted in the thread in a little while doesn't mean it's abandoned. Basically, it's a case where we've taken a little breather from it, but we'll be back.
Yep.
Yeah.
So more about EVE Online Rubicon, and let's continue with the ship changing, ship balancing. I mean, and we have Interdictor changes as well.
Yeah. So this is something we're still a little bit earlier on in the process than we are with Interceptors. But Interdictors is a class that's kind of been in a weird balance state for quite a while. The Saber works really well. The Heretic and Flycatcher have some cool stuff you can do with them. The Eris is cheap. But other than that, like, they're not really in a great state of balance.
Okay.
So we're going to be getting them into a much better place. The actual core role will be staying the same, of course. They are ships designed to keep people in place. They'll be one of the big beneficiaries of the warp speed changes because they go faster than most frigates even do. They go as fast as like the blockade runners even, which is another ship that's benefiting from that change. I expect people will really enjoy getting them to their destination faster. But then we're also going to be changing their fittings and their weapon bonuses and all that. So there'll be definitely some more to come from there.
Brilliant.
And another cool thing that's changing, which unfortunately we don't have pictures of because it's still in early stages, but we're reworking the art for the bubbles that Interdictors drop, which means fleet fights in general should just look a lot nicer. We've seen some preliminary stuff and it looks really, really cool. So another nice thing on top. And then for electronic attack ships, you mentioned those, which are the last thing we know of for sure. And again, we might actually have time to fit more stuff in. We're just not sure yet.
There's some stuff we're definitely fitting in, and then there's more that we are hoping to fit in.
But yes, for the EAFs, they've been really in a bad place for quite a while. They're almost a really cool class, but some really important things like their cap recharge and their lock time made them really difficult to use. So we're going to make them quite a bit better, and the central part of it, along with tweaking those things to make sort of the basic function work, we're also doubling more or less the range on all the secondary EWAR effects. So they will have web ranges, point ranges, newt ranges that are much closer to what the recons have, rather than what frigates have, which is pretty crazy. I mean, talking about like 35k newt sentinels.
And on these little fast ships. They're going to be like super tacklers.
Yes. They're going to be very fun. But those should have a forum thread in the next week or something, so we can start talking about those as well.
Those are also like the CSM's been already providing us feedback on it, so we're.
And they love them, so you must. The CSM.
They are the voice of the people,
representation of what the people think. So I'm not worried about it at all.
Those are really cool ships. I've always liked them a lot, and nice to see them get some love. So, but to counter some of these little ships, if you want to kill them, there's maybe something that's on the horizon as well. For that, new missile launcher.
Yes. Some of you clever database combers have noticed we are putting in a new battleship-sized missile launcher, a rapid heavy missile launcher, to match the rapid light launcher that cruisers get. And it's basically paralleling in purpose. It's going to shoot heavy missiles, so it'll be really good at killing smaller stuff than battleships.
But like medium to even small.
But it gets a rate of fire that's better than heavy launchers do, so you get battleship-ish DPS, although it'll still have lower overall DPS than cruise missiles will if you're shooting at something big. But should offer some cool new options. We kind of were feeling like missile users have just much fewer options than turret users do. Turrets get two, you get short range and long range, and then they get several variations within that, whereas with battleships you just get two. So we want to add a little, flesh that out a bit, and we know people like rapid lights a lot, so I think it'll be a pretty fun new thing to get their hands on.
I mean, missiles are always a popular option. A lot of people start out using missiles, and some people use them all their lives, and they're a lot of fun, and they look cool in space. So and the new launcher looks really great as well. So.
Yeah, we don't have a picture, but yes.
No, we don't have a picture yet, but it looks cool, and I can't wait for you guys to see what it looks like.
The main reason we're super excited about it is that once we invent a time machine, we get to go back to like 5 years ago and tell people that the Raven's going to be super awesome. And
yes. And then nobody will be mad in the past. That's amazing. So, but talking about things that we do have pictures of.
Pictures are really cool.
Yeah, pictures are cool. And since we are on TV, we like to show pictures.
Do you know what else is really cool? New ships.
Yes, new ships are pretty cool.
People
like new ships.
They do.
So we are having new Sisters of Eve faction ships.
Yes, new faction ships, which are more or less pirate faction. Well, I'll stop talking. Let you just look at that.
Wow.
So that's the frigate.
This is the frigate, and as you can see, it's called Frigate Concept.
Yes.
We don't even have names for them yet. We're that early on.
Yeah.
But the design for them is actually getting fairly set. And yeah, they look amazing. We're very excited about them. So the basic gist is that they'll more or less be pirate faction ships. This is the cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one.
They look
This is, for anyone that
really
follows CCP
sci-fi.
Manifest on Twitter, this is the one that had him like...
He's just like drooling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't even
He's
work.
really
He's
excited
so
about these.
excited.
Like, they are really cool. He has good taste.
So it's basically a pirate faction in that it's a combination of two of the factions we already have in EVE. So you'll get bonuses from Galente and from Amar. And the sort of purpose for these ships is to be kind of long deployment, exploration, versatile kind of ships that can do a lot of things and be away from home for a long time. And so
with combat capability.
with combat capability.
Yeah.
Yes. So for now, what we're looking at is they're going to, from Amar, get armor resistance bonuses. From Galente, they're likely going to get drone bonuses, so bonuses to drone damage. They're going to have huge drone bays so that you don't have to go back to refill all the time. And then on top of that, we're giving them some exploration sort of themed bonuses, including hacking bonuses, probing bonuses, and most excitingly, covert ops cloaks. So these will be the first Tech 1, I mean, even though it's faction, ships in EVE to get covert ops cloaks, and they will be fairly badass compared to some of the other areas you can get covert ops clocks right now. You know, the Frig will be just fine at killing things. Probably not quite as good as other pirate factions would be. You know, it shouldn't be able to necessarily duel a Dramiel or something like that. But it has
if you trick the Dramiel, if the Dramiel thinks you're going to be just like fit for PvE, and then you surprise him.
So those should be a lot of fun.
And they are really beautiful, and I mean, just they have a really unique look for themselves. So
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, they're going to be a ship that you can go out and just basically run whatever sites you find. If you're doing PvE, you can do hacking and all of that stuff. You can also then just like go, if you run into a 6 out of 10, you can go run that. And you'll actually have all those options. And you can also fit them to be actual real PvP ships that can defend themselves. And so if someone comes and decides to try to gank you, you can gank right back.
So I mean, being Sisters of Eve are kind of like, you know, peacekeeper humanitarian organization, but I have a feeling these will not always be used for peaceful purposes. That's just
They've decided, I think, that they need to have some teeth behind that for their ships. They need to have them defend themselves. So they will defend only self-defense, but with a vengeance. Oh, with a vengeance.
I'm sure our players will adhere to that strictly.
If you deviate from that, then like a nun's going to wag their finger at you.
Exactly. It's going to be very disappointed in you. All right, that's pretty awesome. We also have some really cool usability features. New ship identification system.
Yeah, so this is actually something that's shown up. You might have the certificate pictures first. Oh, wow. You guys probably, well, you should be getting it pretty big. So we're ripping out the certificate system, the old certificate system, and replacing it with a much more usable, much cleaner, and improved system for certificates. Ytterbium's going to have a dev blog coming out very shortly with all the details, so I won't try to recite them all now, but basically we are just making it much better and cleaner. Like some examples are now certificates will not have other certificates as part of their prerequisites, only skills, which is really nice because it doesn't become this nested mess of stuff you can't understand. All the certificates will be like organized together for a ship in a more clean way. They'll be attached to a new concept called Mastery, which is a collection of certificates that just gives you an idea of how good you are at one ship or another. So for a Megathron with level 3 Mastery, you probably can't even see me pointing because it's probably in full screen, but if you have 3 Mastery as shown in the screenshot, you know, there's this list of certificates which are all the same certificate, they just have levels basically. But check out the dev blog, it'll all be much clearer than I can make it sound here. And so this is, rather than having multiple certificates, that all apply to navigation. There's just a navigation certificate that has 5 levels. Each level has different skills. That was nice and clean. So that's the basic idea. It feels much better. And then we're also doing other things like making it so that you don't have to claim these certificates. You don't have to manage them in a separate planner that's separate from your skill screen. It's all just organized in a way that's way more usable, way more readable as well. We made some changes to the way that these info screens look and function, and it just feels really nice.
It looks really nice, and I think our new players will certainly appreciate this as a tool to help them kind of get into get where they want to go at the beginning when everything is even more confusing than later on. And then also, I mean, older players, will probably like having like moving into new fields
So
and having things more.
It's also
more
going to tell
visibly
you when
presented.
you are super elite.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
when you
yes.
got that thing maxed out,
yes.
that means you are like the
Exactly.
ultimate.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think some people are actually going to go completely crazy with that. The thing this is leading into, this is all attached to a new, we're calling it the Interbus ship identification system.
Yes.
And this is a lame screenshot that I took today while I'm at work, and it is not final at all. Like, this is really in progress right now.
Yes, this is really in progress.
But you can get the gist. We're working on, a progression tree that shows you all the ships in EVE, gives you some basic information about how good you are at flying all of them, and helps you figure out where you should go based on what you have now.
Yeah, and I mean, if you like spaceships, this is really cool. It's just like an overview of all the spaceships you can fly or possibly fly, and like.
And if you don't like spaceships, you should get out of here.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
But as you can see in the picture, some of the ships that you have high masteries for will kind of light up and show you that you happen to be really awesome at that.
Yeah.
And that won't be easy to get. So people will be, I think, having a lot of fun trying to, prove how awesome they are by how many masteries they have for particular ships or particular classes. And there's a lot more coming with this in terms of the types of information we're communicating and how we're doing it. And we can't, walk you through all of that right now. But it's going to be a really good feature, I think, especially for helping people who, just need better information about where they're going and how to sort of set goals in EVE.
Absolutely. New people coming into EVE will love this. Older players trying to get their friends into EVE will love this. It'll be much easier to get a grandpa into space with you. If that's your thing.
It seems like it seems so basic. Right now, the only way you can get this is kind of through the market.
Yeah.
Like we've needed this for a long time. A way to look at what's in the game and how to work your way through it.
Exactly, like a more visually pleasing thing to look at. And I think everyone's going to enjoy this. And just like our most experienced veterans will just sit and space out and watch this and enjoy all the ships.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really good. Yeah. But again, a disclaimer: it won't look like this. I know, for instance, today we're working a lot on the background, and things will change a lot between now and by the time you get your hands on Rubicon. But I'm sure it will be really good. So
all right. So we're going to be doing some stuff to the character selection screen as well. That's some. We all like selecting characters.
Indeed, yeah. This is something that is also still pretty early on, so we don't have stuff to like screenshots to show you quite yet. But Team Kuromaku is doing some great work on this, along with our art guys, on coming up with a new character selection screen that's a lot easier to use. Make things like redeeming items that you've gotten, like you get as gifts or plex or anything like that, a lot easier, and connecting which characters got what, letting you know information about your characters, like what your character, where they are, what ship they're in, all that kind of thing. And just basically something that's a much better way of starting the game. Like, this is the first thing people see when they load up the client, and it should be a lot better than what we've got right now.
Yeah, and like according to our metrics, our players select characters all the time. So they really like selecting characters. So and we might even be adding some new functionality to it soon. We'll talk about that later.
More to come on that.
Yeah, more to come on that. So some cool things in progress. And
one more thing on the list, huh?
Yeah, there's one more thing on the list.
A very special thing for me, I guess. We are integrating Twitch TV into the EVE client.
Yeah,
Twitch!
Yay! Let's get Twitch.
So, we're making.
I expect most people watching this know what that is.
Yes.
Okay.
This is probably.
Odds are most people will have found Twitch by now.
Yep. If you're watching this,
Now we're just gonna make it much more easier for you as a player to share your playing with.
So this much easier. You won't have to use any third-party software at all. Yeah. If you have a Twitch account, you'll just be able to put Twitch account information into a window in the client and push a button, and you will stream. And it's really exciting. I imagine, like, as a advanced streamer, I can see people wondering what kind of features we're adding with it. There's a lot of functionality that comes with third-party software that you might think you need as an EVE streamer, but it completely depends on what you're doing. And we're really just excited about giving people the opportunity to figure out things to use it for. The streams like Mad Annie and streams like Intel Gate streams and Corps teaching each other things, classes. Like, there's all these applications that we feel like adding the usability is just going to be really, really good for people who want to share what they're doing in EVE.
We've already seen Corp set up private streams from their scouts for their FCs, so you actually just have your scout scream what he's seen.
Which will now be really fun to watch because of not caring about bubbles and warping much faster.
So I mean, I've been going to some streams by people who are teaching other players how to play EVE, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, going into a channel where a guy is just playing, talking about the Eve, answering questions, maybe has 150 people in his channel, and it's just like, you know, teaching on the ropes, and this is like a really good tool to just socialize and share your experience with other players.
Yeah,
so it's all about that. You know?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, it'll be really good. Yeah. And you know, depending on how it's received, like this is definitely a feature we want feedback on. We want to know kind of what people think of getting it and what kind of stuff they would want to see added to it. Yeah. It's something we can definitely look at, kind of, I don't know, maintaining and sort of keeping up with.
All right. So those have been some of the things coming in EVE Online Rubicon. Things on this list may still be changed a little bit. Graphics may change a little bit. The stats we've talked about may change a little bit. Things will be added to the list as well. So on the 19th of November, we will see EVE Online Rubicon hit TQ, and it's going to be glorious.
Yes, indeed.
And I'm going to just give you a few announcements before we leave. The collector's edition is shipping the 24th of October. You can pre-purchase it at store.eve.com right now. Get some great new things, all kinds of cool new things if you pre-order. Then we have some great events coming up. EVE Vegas, for example, I'm going. Lots of EVE devs are going. We're going to be doing tournaments and stuff. Yay! It's going to be great. These guys are going as well. And we're going to be even Loxy, who's behind the camera, he's going as well, and CCP Bro, he's there as well. So we're
Bro's going.
Yeah, Bro is going as well.
All right.
So we're going to be bringing a ton of speakers. We're going to be hosting tournaments, prizes, all kinds of presentations, workshops with developers. You know, if you come up with a really good idea, and we're gonna. You might even get something into EVE Online. Who knows? And
yeah, I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
The Interceptor bubble immune thing, we just straight up stole from a player. And I was like, a player posted this idea, we're just like, you know what? Yes.
A player whose ego we're really.
Yeah, I know. He's going to be super happy right now, and he's going to be insufferable on Skype. Once we get off this.
Yeah, we should send him a medal or something. So yeah, and we're going to be everyone who comes to EVE. The first 500 pilots to come to EVE Vegas are going to get a resin cast original, no longer sold battleship model.
I'm going to be the first one in line.
Yes. It's going to be really cool. You're going to be able to try out EVE Valkyrie in HD.
I'm going to be the first one in line.
I think I'm pretty certain in saying that nobody outside
the
companies working on this has tried that. We didn't have HD at FanFest at least. I know that. And it's like that was pretty impressive. So like this is.
We didn't have the HD at E3 where it won like all the awards.
Yeah, probably. Well, so it won all the awards, and it's gonna win a lot more. So this is a really exclusive opportunity for people to try that out at EVE Vegas. I can't wait to try out this latest version myself. So get your tickets at evevegas2.com. You can buy your tickets for cash or Plex if that's what you like. We're gonna have crazy parties with devs and pub crawls, and try not to get lost in Las Vegas. Then also,
pub crawl.
Yeah. then I also want to give a mention to EVE Down Under, which is happening in Australia at the end of November. Fossey is going.
Yeah.
Kripa is going. So I mean, even if you live far away, it's no excuse. You might try to make your way across the globe. It's a 2-day flight, but hey, it's going to be great. Those guys are really nice, doing a lot of good work organizing that. Second year in a row they're doing it. And,
we got to chat with them over Skype last time when they did it, and being able to be there in person is going to be awesome.
Exactly, it's going to be great. So like another multi-day event forming there, and we really like to see how these events are forming and the links people go to. It's
there's events all over the place. Definitely check out the Events and Gatherings sub-forum on our forums for other events going on. I know there's another Toronto meetup coming up very soon. I went to one of the ones they had in August and had a great time.
And if you check out This Week in EVE, which is always published on our forums on Fridays, you can see a list of the upcoming player gatherings that you can attend.
Sweet.
Maybe something in your area. And yes, this has been great. So we are gonna just start waiting for. Well, you're gonna start.
Time for us to get back to work.
Yes. It's only like
balance and intercept.
Go back, get chained to our desk again.
Yeah. All right. So thank you all for joining. We can't wait to hear your feedback and speak to you about all of this. And see you in space.
Bye.
CCP is proud to present EVE, the Second Decade Collector's Edition. Includes an illustrated hardcover book, unique EVE and Dust in-game items, Rifter USB hub, EVE Symphony soundtrack, and the iconic Danger Game in one amazing box set that celebrates the history and future of the EVE universe. This is a limited edition item. Pre-purchase now at store.eve.com and receive bonus in-game items.